Joining me now is a first-time guest, Shannon Everett. He is with this organization right here, American Truckers United. My friends, 20 years ago, I started warning about things like NAFTA, the North American Highway, and my friend Phyllis Schlafly, who's now, of course, since passed away, was warning about it. We were warning on a radio show a good 12, 15 years ago about our concerns of illegal truckers coming into the U.S. or non-citizens coming to the U.S. Citizens that won't be able to speak the language, won't be able to read the road signs. You can go back in my vault at worldviewtube.com/vault and find my interview with Phyllis Schlafly on this. Well, in my research for radio today, I stumbled across, and I now follow American Truckers. I'm now following these guys. But I stumbled on testimony given by one of the co-founders. And I played it on radio today, my 74 Christian radio stations. And the phone lines lit up. Every one of them a trucker. We have a lot of over-the-road professional drivers that listen to my broadcast. And we pray for you and your safety. That's a tough job. And I've told this audience, I got a real respect for the over-the-road driver. When in June of 2003, we purchased a big motor coach. And you know, my family and I traveled in that motor coach from 2003 to 2018, holding conferences all over this country. And when I got behind the wheel of that thing, and particularly when it was loaded down with all of our books and DVDs and conference setup, platform stage setup, all the equipment, utilities we'd have to bring, that thing took a long time to stop. People would pull their little car in front of you and slam on the brakes thinking you could stop on a dime. And they think you could get that thing going, like they could with a push of the gas pedal. You can't. They're honking at you because you're not going fast enough. I'm telling you, folks, I had a new respect for the over-the-road driver, what they have to deal with. But now they have to worry about their safety and that of others on the road by people who cannot even read the language. Logan, we got a crash recently that happened, Austin, Texas? Killed, I think, a family of 4. A non-citizen that couldn't apparently speak the language, read the road signs. Joining me now is one of the founders of American Truckers United, Shannon Everett, out of Arkansas. Shannon, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Hey, good afternoon. Glad to be here.
Great to have you with us. What do you make of my opening monologue there?
Well, I think it's divine that y'all reached out to us. I think first and foremost, we're a Christian organization, and so our foundation's on Christian principles. And in fact, if you look at the logo of American Truckers United, you'll see the license plate on the front of the truck is actually Psalm 34.
Oh, you're kidding. Wow. Is it? Well, I didn't know that. I'm hearing this all for the first time. Well, I need to bring you on my 74 Christian stations tomorrow because I want to cover this again. Because, Shannon, our phone lines melted. Every one of them was an over-the-road trucker, a professional driver, calling in to say, you're 100% right. The last caller, he was from Minnesota, and we were pressed for time because the computer is going to take it away. And I didn't fully understand what he was saying, but Logan in the control room told me what he was trying to say. He was trying to say that the other truckers that were talking about all of the foreign drivers, one talked about one from Somalia and all these different countries. The last caller, who I didn't fully understand because we were so pressed for time, his point was he goes to some truck stops, he doesn't see any Americans. He doesn't see any Americans. I'm like, what? What do you make of that report?
We're really in the 11th hour in this replacement cycle. And so what we're experiencing in the industry is we have 2 ecosystems now. We have the ecosystem, which includes the American truck driver and the legacy American carriers. And then you have this new ecosystem of foreign commercial driver's licenses, non-domicile commercial driver's licenses. And this ecosystem works for mostly a lot of smaller fleets, new fleets, but also you find these guys in some of the mega fleets throughout the industry. And this other ecosystem that's done our industry so well for all these years really include your mom and pop operations, your 50 truck, 100 truck, 200 truck fleets, and they're being decimated right now because they can't compete with the slave wages of the new ecosystem.
Of course they can.
And so I have no doubt that your phones blew up. We just got back from the Louisville Truck Show, which is the Mid-America Truck Show. Usually has about 50,000 in attendance. We had the same kind of reaction. Guys were just lined up at our booth. We heard story after story of just of how these guys are really just being, their wages are being suppressed right now. Their living standards are being suppressed right now because they're having to compete with these guys. And there is no way to compete. We've got information that shows the wages of these countries that are coming over here are less than a third, in some cases a tenth of what an American truck driver makes.
Wow.
And so it's impossible for these guys to compete. And then these guys are coming from cultures that don't have the same driving culture that we have in the United States. A lot of the countries that these guys are coming from, some of these guys don't even regularly drive cars, much less 80,000 pound commercial vehicles. And so we have noticed a dramatic rise in the number of fatal truck crashes across the United States. And that's what really got us involved in this. My experience goes back 25 years. I used to have a fleet of 1,000 trucks. I ended up laying off over 450 truck drivers due to competition from foreign commercial driver's licenses. But it was really the thing that got us going on this American Truckers United last year was the crash of Scott Miller in Colorado. Scott was killed by a driver, a foreign commercial driver who had been deported 16 times. He was under deportation orders at the time that he killed Scott. And that's why, we say we're a Christian group and we move on Christian foundation and principles. And I really felt the Lord call me into this. I know my partner, Harvey, he's also a Christian. He felt also the Lord call him into this mission. And it's really, we're here. We feel like we're called here to love on our American truck drivers and to love on these crash victims who until this last 6 months or so have not had proper representation. They have not had a voice for the travesty that's taking place in the industry.
What was Scott's last name? I want to look that story up. What was his name?
Scott Miller. If you go to Twitter, ATU Truckers, it'll be at the top of our feed. The guy that killed him was just released Sunday from jail after serving for only a small amount of time for a misdemeanor, and ICE arrested him when he was released from the jail. We covered that on our Twitter feed. Did you?
I'm going to get to that. Yep. Look at this. Well, guys, watch this. Here we go.
Ignacio Cruz Mendoza served a sentence for a crash that killed 64-year-old Scott Miller in June of last year. Mendoza was driving a semi-truck that rolled, spilling steel pipes onto other vehicles, killing Miller and hurting one other person. Cruz Mendoza does not have a U.S. driver's license, and ICE says he is a citizen of Mexico who was previously returned to Mexico 16 times after coming to the U.S. in 2002. In a statement to CBS Colorado, they say he was arrested and taken to the ICE Denver Contract Detention Facility, quote, where he will remain pending removal from the United States.
And how long was he in there, Shannon?
The accident was in June of 24, and so just a little over 9 months.
So he gets 9 months for murdering a guy.
Yeah, and so that's part of the problem. So we've got a bill currently here filed in the state of Arkansas. It's HB 1569. It's called the Secure and Safe Roads Act. And in that bill, we address the criminal statute for people who have crashes and either injure or kill someone when they don't have a valid commercial driver's license. And so one of the loopholes that we have across the industry right now is there's no code that specifically addresses that violation.
Well, let me go. This is what I just stumbled on in my research for show prep today, and that's why I ended up carrying it on radio. And again, I'd like to have you go ahead and put down 1 p.m. Central for tomorrow. You'll be live on 74 Christian stations, because I think we need to hear from you now, not just me talking about it. But I did play this today of your co-founder on the air. Listen to this, folks. I want you guys to hear this too.
Thank you. If you'll identify yourself for the record. Yes, sir. I'm Harvey Beach. I'm one of the co-founders of American Truckers United, and my family has been in the trucking business in Arkansas for 43 years. I'm going to really quickly try to give you guys some facts and then also speak to the enforcement language that was in 1745. Some facts. The American Trucking Association advised our federal government that it was okay to give non-citizens what's called a non-domiciled CDL. And it's important to note that a non-domiciled CDL cannot even be used to board an airplane in our country. The Biden administration, with their open borders policy and under the advisement of the American Trucking Association, created the Biden Trucking Action Plan in 2021. And the results of that plan flooded hundreds of thousands of unvetted non-citizens into the long-haul trucking segment. The majority of these folks cannot read, speak, or understand English. And again, I would like to point out a non-domiciled CDL cannot be used to board an airplane in our country. The American Trucking Association and the Arkansas Trucking Association endorsed the Biden Trucking Action Plan. Since that plan has been put in place, there has been an effort by the American Trucking Association to pass bills in as many states as possible that allow for non-domiciled CDLs and even non-domiciled learners permits, which was in the original draft of House Bill 1745. I want to talk about the enforcement language.
All right, let me just stop right there. So he goes on to talk about all the crashes, which you've mentioned as well. Logan, do we have the screenshot of the one from San Antonio? Was it San Antonio, Logan? Austin.
Texas.
Oh, you know about that one, Shannon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about what you know on that one.
So we saw the crash when it happened, and we're following these commercial vehicle crashes pretty closely. So immediately we procured the video from the scene that showed the commercial truck driver unable to speak English when confronted by one of the witnesses. And so one of the first things that we did was put out a call across Twitter and I believe Facebook to say, hey, if y'all have anything on this driver, let us know. But there should be an immediate investigation into the background on the qualification, the training, the vetting, and the immigration status of this truck driver. And after we did that, there was a Twitter personality or handle called Sarah is Censored, I believe it was, who answered that call and started digging in and doing research on this guy, and found out that he was on a work visa, that he was here from Ethiopia, that he was unable to speak English, that his one of the problems that we've been finding with these guys is a lot of these are refugees and they're here on asylum request. And so his birth date was a made up birth date on the driver's license. It just shows 1/1 of some made up year. And we're seeing that as commonplace across the industry right now. We also tracked it back to the domicile address for the motor carrier. I think there was something like 10 different motor carriers all operating out of the same apartment building. And so she did such a good job on researching all of this that the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, did a response to her and just did it like a reply all on Twitter that said, hey, this is now under investigation by the Department of Transportation.
I think we have some footage of this. This was a trucker who was driving intoxicated too fast in Austin, Texas. 17 vehicles were involved. 5 dead. That's it? 5 dead, including an infant and a child. I don't know what the language is going to be like, hopefully, but here we go.
It's you, bro?
Okay, that's got language.
What? What happened?
When I'm coming and somebody is left you and I put here, so.
But the traffic was there, bro. Like, there's no way you should have been. I'm a trucker myself, bro.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to. You were going too fast. You know, there's 2 people dead over there, and possibly 2 more, possibly 4. They're dead.
Dead?
They're dead.
Dead?
Yes, dead.
Oh my goodness.
They're f***ing dead, bro. Because of your stupid.
All right. This is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Our government regulates you and I as American citizens to death. They're not regulating these guys.
Yeah, so we believe there's two different standards for these two separate ecosystems. We know, having all the experience in the trucking industry, we're all aware that the trucking industry is probably one of the most regulated industries in the United States. But there seems to be a politically based lack of enforcement on this separate ecosystem of drivers, and we really don't understand that. If you go on our page, you'll see that we were challenging the FMCSA recently at a meeting and asking questions about that. And we've been asking some pretty hard questions, and those so far have continued to go unanswered. But we're going to keep shouting about this, because not only are people being killed, but jobs are being lost, and an entire industry is being turned over and replaced.
Yeah, and the safety issue when you get out on a street. Let's go to this. Let's show this right here. This is from their website. If you want to follow them, or Twitter feed. Here's their Twitter feed. If you guys want to follow them, at ATU Truckers. At ATU Truckers. If you want to follow them on social, on X. Shocking revelation from Highway Police. States are now issuing commercial driver's licenses to non-citizens with no names required. We heard this directly from two separate officers at the Mid-America Trucking Show this week. Not only are non-domicile CDLs being handed out to non-citizens, but we can now confirm there is zero vetting. They don't even need a full name. Check out this insane example from the sanctuary state of California below. What's happening to our road safety?
Yeah, so we had two highway police officers come up to us when we were at the Mid-America Trucking Show, and you look, these officers are just as outraged as these truck drivers are. Unfortunately, they're scared to lose their jobs, and so they're not speaking out. They're not sharing what they're seeing in the industry. And so we just had one, I guess, that was courageous enough, brave enough to step forward and start telling us. And he said, "Have you seen the no name given CDLs?" And I'm like, "No, I have no idea what you're talking about." And so he was able to give us an example and show it to us. And we went and asked another officer, and that an officer that overheard that conversation was like, "Yeah, I've got a picture of one," And then he showed us one, and so we put out a post on Twitter saying, "Man, we just recently heard that they're now even issuing CDLs without full names, without proper names on them. How can that be?" And then immediately, we've got a good following now of people in the industry with strong, deep backgrounds, and immediately we had a copy of these two.
Well, we're going to direct people to your website because we have a lot of over-the-road professional drivers. Can they join your organization? I'm assuming they can.
Yeah, so if you just go to that sign up now button, registration is completely free. Mm-hmm. So if you click there, that takes you, it defaults to the driver page. So you can see just 5 or 6 fields there. Hey, where are you from? What's your name? Are you a U.S. citizen? And do you have a CDL? And then just agree to the terms. And all you're agreeing to is that we can advocate on your behalf. We're trying to pass legislation. And so, we need to sign up about 50,000 drivers and take a large voice to Washington, D.C. and demand that they take action on this issue.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Shannon, in closing. You maybe heard me in my opening monologue that I interviewed many times my friend Phyllis Schlafly for so many years. She's passed away now. But we were talking 15 years ago or so about NAFTA, North American Highway, the superhighway. And she was warning about Mexican trucks coming right over our border. And she was saying then, do you think their safety standards are equal to ours? They're going to be bringing their junk trucks onto our interstates. I don't know if that's going on. I'll let you answer that. But whether they're bringing their trucks over, many of the drivers from these countries, Mexico, Somalia, other places, where they can't read the language, they can't speak the language, they're here. And I don't know if this has anything to do with NAFTA, North American Union, the idea of merging America, Canada, and Mexico that I've been warning about for so many years with people like Phyllis Schlafly and Tom DeWeese and others. But my friend Phyllis and I were talking about this on the radio probably 15 years ago. Is this what this is all about? Is this involved?
Absolutely. She was as right as Ross Perot.
Do you know who I'm talking about when I say Phyllis Schlafly?
No, I do not.
Well,
but,
yeah. Well, I'll email you. I'll text you some of her stuff. You won't believe
Okay.
what she was warning about so many years ago that has now come to pass.
I was a big Ross Perot fan, and so I've been hearing a sucking sound for a long time, and I can tell you that they absolutely do not have the same safety standards. We actually have a problem in the country with fraudulent CDLs out of Mexico. We actually have testimony that you'll find on our Twitter page from a safety expert who has reviewed thousands of driver qualification files for Mexican conductor licensed drivers and has never seen an MVR violation. And so they keep no background history of DUIs and DWIs and speeding tickets and traffic accidents. And so these guys are all being qualified. They're all being put on our roads here in the United States. And we don't even know what kind of driving record or history that they have. We have no way of checking whether the license that they present is actually suspended or active. There's so many problems with that. And there's loopholes that are allowing that. You know, we never did really complete the whole pilot program that we had with Mexico and the United States. In 2009, we had a Mexican carrier pilot program that didn't go very well. And you don't hear anything about that anymore. And so why is that? Well, that's because you now have U.S. domiciled companies who are subcontracting out foreign labor and hiring these Mexican conductor driver's licenses to actually work for the U.S. companies.
So are they bringing their trucks over here or just their drivers?
Just their drivers.
Okay, so she was concerned about them bringing their trucks at one time, but I guess the way to get around that is just bring their drivers.
That's right, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're really focused on.
I mean, you've already answered it. There's no way to make a living. What does the average American trucker make, and what are these non-citizens making an hour?
Yeah, so we've done some research on that. The experts show that the average wage for a commercial truck driver, including all modes, I think that's including local and over the road, and so it gets a little fuzzy, but it says 56,000. I would argue that most of your over the road truck drivers who are staying out and they're gone for 7-10 days at a time, those guys are targeting $75,000 to $80,000 a year, but they're not getting there today, and that's because they're having to compete with this other wage. And so, they should be making $100,000 because they're sacrificing more than all of our tradesmen who are making somewhere close to that and who aren't having to sacrifice being away from their families and being gone 10 days at a time. But because of this labor dumping that's taking place, because all these people have been pumped in on top of them or dumped in on top of them, their wages right now are actually declining. At the same time, inflation is going up. Our drivers are in the middle of critical emergency right now.
I bet they are.
They are destitute.
Yeah. I want to show a quick video here to the audience because I think this is a gorgeous cab here. Look at this. Look at this Kenworth. I mean, this is a gorgeous vehicle here. Now, as we get here in this video footage, you'll notice that extended cab there. And I think that's a great idea. I've been following these for a few years thinking, if I ever wanted to retire from what I'm doing and go see the country and get paid to do it, well, now I guess apparently there's not any money in it, but this would be the way to do it because that's going to be your kitchen and your bathroom and your where you sleep. Other than stopping for diesel, you won't have to stop to use a bathroom or a shower at a truck stop because you guys are about to see when you get on board, these things are gorgeous. But I'm thinking, how can a trucking company afford this anymore? Who can afford that now that they're apparently destroying trucking? And the idea of attracting, retired folks to go get their CDL license, and maybe I've heard of married couples retiring and getting CDL license and traveling and doing it with something like this. But I don't know, who are they catering to anymore? I don't see middle-class families or middle-class guys. A lot of them going to be running to this. And how does a trucking company afford that? That's a beautiful rig. And that door right there, you're about to see them open it. That's the bathroom and the shower. And I keep seeing them using these to try to attract couples to over-the-road careers. How could they afford to attract a middle-class family or couple or even pay for that truck? Shannon?
Yeah, that truck fits a very small niche in the industry of people who are able to haul, whether it's high value, low weight items. But most of your truckers out here, I would say probably 98% of your truckers are not going to be able to utilize something like that because almost all of our traffic is really cubed out and it's weighed out. It's an efficient form of transportation. And so, that truck's going to weigh at least 25,000 pounds, and your typical truck's going to weigh 18,000 pounds. And so that truck's going to be hauling at least 5,000 pounds less than a typical shipment. And that kind of throws it out of the competition for most of your freight activity. And so there's a small niche of people that can do that. Hey, everybody would love to have that truck, but if you go buy that truck, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity, a lot of freight out here.
Isn't that terrible that we can't set the system up where you could have a couple or even a couple guys that just say, I want to do the efficiency of driving and getting diesel, but we got our own kitchen or bathroom, but that we can't make trucking more affordable. That's what I'm saying. I guess here's my slogan. Can we make American trucking great again? Can we not?
That is a great point. As an industry, we need to be focused on increasing the standards for our American truck drivers. I love that idea. Just the fact that we could, have better accommodations for these guys who are sacrificing all this time away. I mean, just the example that you're giving there is, this weight classification and trying to utilize the maximize the utilization of the truck has made it so these guys are cramped down into smaller and smaller quarters. Is there a way to make that better? And look, we need to attract, if we're going to crack down on all this illegal immigration and trucking, we're going to have to focus on incentivizing people to come back into the industry.
Exactly.
There is not a shortage. There is not a shortage of people that can drive a truck. There's a shortage of people that want to drive trucks for slave wages.
That's right. And then so I think if you add in some perks with good pay, and then, hey, you retired from some other line of work and you want to go into doing this, bring your spouse with you. I'm telling you, it's not the same, but when my motor coach and I drove all over the country, my wife would hop up and she'd pop stuff in the oven or the microwave or whatever, and I'd pull over and I'd have dinner and we'd rest, and then I'd get back on the road, and it was a great way to travel. If someone can do that with their spouse, and maybe it's a young couple and they both have their CDL, this is now encouraging great Americans to get into a line of work that would have a more wholesome and appealing lifestyle. Why can we not do that? I'm going to go back. We need a hats, make American trucking great again. And I want to know, are we getting the President Trump administration on board? I bet you President Trump doesn't know what we're talking about right now. Does he know about all the illegals that are killing people because they're non-citizens driving these trucks?
Our president does not know. And the reason that we've been screaming from the mountaintops is because we know that we have a president, we have an administration that won't stand for this. And so we've just been trying our best to get the message to him. And look, he's got more important issues like world peace, and I understand all that. But our American truckers, I believe, should be somewhere high on that list. And hopefully he will receive this message and get to them as soon as possible, because we have some truck drivers out here and we have some victims out here that are really in a bad spot, and they need some help.
Well, you know what? We're going to put this online tomorrow morning after tonight, and we're going to ask our audience to tweet this at our president, because I agree 100% with you. When he hears this, he's going to go, what? Are you kidding me? We got non-citizens who can't speak the language, who are driving these massive trucks, and they're killing Americans. I mean, this one guy, he killed, how many, 5 people?
He killed 5 and injured 11. Actually, there was an entire family of 4 that was wiped out in the accident.
Including an infant. And a small child. So I know President Trump will take this under his wing when he hears about it. And our audience, we're going to ask them to grab this tomorrow at worldviewtube.com, worldviewtube.com. Please tweet it to our president and say, Mr. President, help make American trucking great again. Please invite the AmericanTruckers.com guys. Invite Shannon and invite his co-founder, whose name is
And Harvey.
Harvey. There he is. Harvey, who testified before the Arkansas. We played his audio on 74 Christian Station. Ask President Trump to bring Shannon and Harvey to the Oval Office to hear what has been said tonight, or just watch the whole interview. I bet you will start seeing some action. So tweet it to the president, folks. This whole interview that you'll find at worldviewtube.com and on our X page, WorldviewTube as well. Harvey, Shannon, thank you so much. And I'd love to have you on my 74 Christian stations tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central if one or both are available.
Okay, we'll make sure one of us is there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Check out their website, AmericanTruckers.com. We have a lot of over-the-road drivers. You might want to check into this organization because when we opened the phone lines up today at 1 o'clock Central, every caller, and they were stacked up, every caller was a professional over-the-road driver. And you know what? Not a one of them said, "Oh, Brandon, you're telling lies. This is not true." They were all like, "Let me tell you my horror story. Let me tell you what I'm running into. Let me tell you what I see every day." They called to say everything that Harvey was saying before the legislature there in Arkansas was true. And, well, it's even worse than that. If they'd given him more time to speak, I'm sure he would have told more. So point people to this website, AmericanTruckers.com, and please tweet this at President Trump, and let's see if we can make American trucking great again. All right, there was another long format interview. How many commercial breaks you think all the other networks would have taken? Not us. Is that because we don't have any expenses? No. About $40,000+ a month to keep the network going. Is it because we don't want to bring in revenue? No, but we don't want to sacrifice content. So we love doing the long format interviews, and we're going to do them as long as we can. And if we don't get the support we need, then we'll start taking breaks and working in ads. But for right now, this is the model. So please go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Check out all our sponsors right now. You guys know I take Bella Grace every day. This is one of our biggest sponsors. This is a powerful elixir with 3 powerful ingredients, 80 clinical trials behind this. Collagen, cat's claw, that's an anti-inflammatory. Astaxanthin takes on free radicals. That crosses the brain-blood barrier. You know what else they have there? They have, and these banners move around, there it is. They have also a skincare. Melissa loves the skincare. There's your 80 clinical trials. Melissa loves, there's the skincare. She loves the skincare. There's her endorsement. She uses it. I see her using it when I get ready in the morning. She's doing her thing over her sink and mirror. Logan and Melissa are both on the Bellatrim, all natural weight loss. Also great for your cardiac health and more. The sleep, that's the sleep gummies. She uses those to help her stay asleep. She loves these products. MelissaHouseBG.com, MelissaHouseBG.com. Drink good water. I mean, unless you like drinking fluoride and bacteria and pesticides. Oh, sure, let's have a dose of pesticides, hon. Unless you like all that, I would suggest you go to worldviewwater.net and get one of these filters. We have a lower third for that. Worldviewwater.net. There it is. It's amazing how when I say that, all of a sudden it appears. I don't know. It's almost like there's somebody in the control room listening. You can also go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Get your... Look at that. It's almost like there's someone in there listening. You don't want to waste any of that. There you go. I don't want to get it on my suit either. There you go. Worldviewwater.net. That was my Bella Grace. I finished this. Make sure everybody knows what I was doing there. Get the water purifiers. You can get one for under the sink and get one for your shower. I have one for under the sink, and I have the shower one as well. So check those out as well. All of these sponsors are there at worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Gold keeps setting a record high. Gold keeps setting record highs. Silver is rising too. You guys can find out about precious metals, gold, silver, putting gold in your IRA, the difference between bullion and numismatic. Just click the more info button at the top. Fill out the form. No obligation, no risk, no obligation. Free. What do you got to lose? Just get the information. Just get the information. Worldviewgold.com, worldviewgold.com, or you'll find the link there at worldviewtube.com/sponsors. The Numi, I swish with this. This has glutathione to detox your cells. And core studies show that glutathione may remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. So a lot of great things there. Check it all out. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors.